Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today we're going to look at this Phalaenopsis. It's called Joy Music Notation Tina. And as for the parents, they're listed under the name because I know if I try to say it, I'll probably butcher it pretty badly. So for those of you who are interested in the parentage information, they're listed right at the bottom of the video. I got this orchid from Joseph Wu's Orchid. This is a really reputable orchid nursery from Taiwan. I have acquired or purchased quite a few orchids from this orchid nurseries, and I've talked about a lot of them over the years. Their orchids are always of really good quality, and they do come to the US for certain orchid shows, and I also know that they go to many orchid shows around the world, so you might want to actually follow their Facebook or get in touch with them directly through their website and ask them whether they're coming to your countries and whether they do pre-orchid show pre-show orders, because I know they do that, because I don't always get to go to their orchid shows, but then they will come to the US, for example, and then they will ship locally or ship to me my orchids instead of me going to the orchid show. So they can do that. So you might want to look into their pre-order list, because sometimes you can find amazing orchids that you can never find easily in the US, for example. So the reason I got this orchid was because of a couple reasons. Number one is its concentric circle characteristics, which reminds me of Luda Manana. And speaking of which, I actually have a bonus footage at the end of this video, and it's also the orchids that you're going to see in that footage is crosses with Luda Manana in their parentage. They just all happen to be in bloom at the same time along with this orchid, so I put the other three orchids side by side just to have, for you to see how similar they are and how different they are depending on what you look at. For this orchid, concentric circle, and then I love how the red color blocks are distributed throughout the petals and sepals, and then with yellow edge around the flower. But if you look at the lip, do you notice that it's also kind of interesting? Like the entire lip is not just one color, it's white background, but then with that magenta or fuchsia color blocks or patterns. So I think it's a very interesting, unique combination. Between the flowers and the lips, you see a lot of pattern. But overall though, if you look at this orchid, it doesn't look too busy. I don't remember if this orchid is fragrant or not, because I tried to smell it and then I couldn't smell anything. And then after a while, I kind of forget if I smell anything at all. So this orchid, I would just kind of place it under the non-fragrant orchid. But hopefully it will surprise me. For example, my That Twinkle chocolate drop or chocolate chip, I don't remember, but my That Twinkle, it was not fragrant when I purchased it. First blooming, didn't smell any fragrance, but then second time around it started to pull out fragrance. So it may have to do with the orchid's age, I don't know. And then I also had another orchid. It was a no ID Phalaenopsis orchid from a grocery store. It was actually a rescue from a botanical gardens gift shop. It wasn't fragrant in the beginning, but then eventually it started to have fragrance when it bloomed, so I was pleasantly surprised. Okay, back to this orchid. It's in a 10 or 12 ounce cup, and then I drill some drainage holes at the bottom, so it is a traditional setup. And the orchid substrate mixture, I always use a mixture of manto clay and hydrocorn, and that's what you see. The reason I chose the smaller cup, and then I also didn't use a lot of substrate is because this orchid didn't have that big of a root system. So I use a smaller cup, about 80% of the substrate to fill up the cup, because I want this orchid to feel more snuggled and then eventually grow enough for me to up pot it. And remember the bonus footage I mentioned earlier? Here it is. So these are the 3 orchids that were in bloom along with this Joy music notation. And so the first one is my Telu. This is a cross between Tetraspis and Luda Mañana. So you can very easily see that there's that concentric circle and then fuzzy lip. I think Luda Mañana also has a little bit of fuzzy lip, and then of course Tetraspis. So this orchid also has some hair on the lip. Here's another Luda Mañana related orchid. This one is a cross between Luda Mañana and Yafo Nice Girl. I think this second one, this Yafo Nice Girl one, is one of my earlier Luda Mañana related orchid. If you go back to my channel a couple years ago, you will see I've had this orchid for a long time. I think at least 6 years, and it's been doing great. And then coming up, this is a primary hybrid, Luda Mañana and Venosa, and the yellow edge comes from Venosa. And I love this orchid's lip. It's very saturated fuchsia magenta color, which is very, very, very good looking to me for this orchid. Somehow it just kind of works for this orchid. By now you can probably tell I'm a big fan of Luda Mañana and its hybrid orchids, and that's true. And I think I have 1 or 2, maybe 3 more in my collection that are in bloom. I'll try to find time and make their spotlight video and share with y'all. Overall, today's video is about to end. I don't want it to get too long, so I hope you enjoyed this video. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification.